Nursing school is hard enough. Learning about cardiology doesn't have to be. My name is Andrea. I'm a cardiology nurse practitioner, and I try my best to take some of these complicated and complex cardiac concepts and break them down into understandable and relatable pieces of information so that it makes sense. And I try to have a little fun at the same time. Nursing students and new graduate nurses, for any of you who are contemplating career choices in either a cardiac unit or some sort of cardiovascular unit, there are two very vital concepts that you have got to have a great understanding of in order for you to be successful in this in that place, in the cardiac units. Those two concepts are preload and afterload. Now, when you gain a great understanding of what preload and afterload is, you will be able to read through your cardiology provider's note and look at the medications and treatment strategies that have been selected, and you'll be able to say, got you. Now I see why they did what they did. It's going to make perfect sense. Let's dive in. Now, preload and afterload, please understand that they are looking at two different places for measurement obtainment. All right. Preload is looking at how much volume, literally volume by milliliter measurement, how much volume is in either ventricle, depending on which one your provider is focused on. But it's looking at how much volume in milliliter measurements is in either one of those ventricles when the ventricle is in its most relaxed state of diastole. Now recall, if you will, the heart has two different phases of activity. You've got the systolic or systole phase, which means the heart is literally squeezing to give blood to the body. That is systolic or systole. Heart can't stay in squeeze mode all the time. At some point, it's going to have to relax so that it can fill again, right? That relaxation state, that is diastole. That's what we're focused on. When the heart is at its most relaxed state of diastole and the opportunity for ventricular filling is at its maximum, that is your preload measurement. How much fluid or blood volume is in the heart at that moment in time. Now, if your preload is high, then that means there is hypervolemia, lots of volume that is not just in the heart, but lots of volume that is literally all over in circulation, and that can give you insight into certain hypervolemic states like heart failure, just to name one. Now, in elevated preload states, your cardiology provider may want to implement diuresis if patients aren't on it already, or they may want to adjust the diuretics for a more profound effect, get some of this extra volume out of circulation. Does that make sense? Now, afterload, conversely, afterload is not looking at how much fluid volume is in that ventricle, more so than it is looking at how much pressure does that ventricle have to overcome in order to squeeze that fluid volume out and get it out to the rest of the body. So your afterload is predominantly looking at arterial compliance. How well, how capable are the arteries able to actually accommodate all of this volume that's in circulation and get it all over the body to where it needs to go. Now, high afterload values typically suggest that something is going on with the arteries, like atherosclerosis. You've got stiffened arteries. Stiff arteries are not very pliable. Excuse me, they're not very compliant at all. You also may have an element of hypertension with increased afterload pressures. Could be, regular arterial or basic hypertension, essential or primary hypertension, could be pulmonary hypertension. But either way, the pressure inside the arteries is high. So the ventricle is going to have more of a challenging time to overcome, being able to squeeze and push that blood out. Elevations in afterload could also be indicative of ischemic changes that are going on. Could be a blockage somewhere, and that's why the heart is having such a hard time getting blood out of itself and through the arteries. Could very well be. So long story short, preload and afterload both help to assess certain conditions like volume overload, hypertension, and possible ischemic damage or ischemic changes. How they help is two different ways. Preload volume at end diastolic state, and afterload looks at arterial compliance. Making sense? Fantastic. If this was helpful information to you, please share it with your colleagues. Please share it with your classmates if you're still in nursing school. Spread the word. Spread the word. Cardiology is not nearly as difficult as some will make it out to be. Yes, it is complex. It is. Yes, it can be a little convoluted. It can, but it doesn't have to be hard. You just need somebody that's able to explain it in the language that you can understand. And she is me. For those of you who would like to join the classroom for future sessions, hit that plus button up there. That gets you a seat. Until next time, everybody, class is dismissed.